Welcome to another episode of T-Sports Texas High School Football. Today, I'm going to cover the game of the week with emphasis on the. That game being Duncanville versus Desoto, one of the biggest rivalries in the state of Texas. Well, you all know since it's a big game, I had to get there early. So got my Duncanville free giveaway t-shirt, pretty slick t-shirt. So they were giving away t-shirts for those who had a ticket to the game. So I got me a free t-shirt. So I'm all good. Anyway, I got to the game early because you know the crowd, it's going to be large. You know the lines are going to be long. So I wanted to get there early and settle in. So I had time to settle in, get ready for the game. And since I was there early, you know your boy got to go hit up the concession stand. So I got me my usual hot links, some Doritos, Powerade, and a little honey bun, you know, to get the sugar level up, you know, for getting ready for the game. So I was set. I was ready for the game, got my seat, had to get reserved seating because, you know, the game is going to be packed, and I wanted to make sure that I had my seat reserved, and I was ready. Lots and lots of media attention everywhere. Cameras up in the press boxes, down on the sidelines, cameras in the end zones, sponsors everywhere. There were a lot of giveaways. So even got me a Grimace t-shirt from McDonald's, you know, that character, Grimace. Anyways, let's get into the game. I'm sure there are other highlights out there all over the internet. I'm just going to give you, you know, my take, my opinion of the game. I went to all the Duncan games so far this season. So what I saw was a team that was in need of identity. The run game was okay. The passing game, they had all the weapons on the receiver level, but the question mark was the quarterback. I knew that he really needed to come through and really be that guy because we no longer have Keelan Russell. I know that the new quarterback needed to step up, and I saw, you know, a lot of potential. He really needs to do better so that he can take Duncanville really far in the playoffs. So they definitely need a solid quarterback, so all eyes were on the quarterback. His name, Maximus The Great Show, one of the coolest names ever in all of sports. So you got to give it up to him. So that's a pretty cool name. Anyway, like I was saying before the game, all week long, I wasn't sure if this Duncanville team could beat Desoto. Remember, Desoto had a rough start, but they really came out strong the last couple of games, beating their last two opponents. So I knew Coach Mathis would turn his team around and come out ready for Duncanville. On the other hand, before this Desoto game, Duncanville had a couple bye weeks, so they weren't, I didn't feel like they would be as prepared game-wise, and they also just came off a district bye, so I wasn't sure if they would be ready for this game. With that being said, my pick was still Duncanville, but I knew it was going to be an interesting game. So I felt like it may be a little rough. I felt like going in, it may be a little shaky. I even had a thought that maybe Desoto was going to run through Duncanville because I wasn't seeing what I needed to see from past Duncanville teams. Now, I wasn't overly concerned, but there are a few things I knew that Duncanville needed to prove upon. The things I wasn't overly concerned of was the defense. I felt like even though the defense here and there would give up some big plays, they weren't a bad defense. I felt like they were really solid on defense. They understood their assignments, and every now and then they would have a little slip up. But I felt like they usually would hold their ground for most games, and so I wasn't too concerned. My biggest concern have always been on the offensive side. I felt like I wasn't too sure if they would struggle moving the ball. The last game against Skyline, Duncanville really worked on establishing the run game. So I felt like maybe, they'll come into the Desoto game and really try to pound the ball and establish the run. That's where I was wrong. So for the Duncanville DeSoto game, I'm just going to say, to stay straight out, the quarterback looked really good. He looked good. I don't know what they did the last couple weeks in terms of preparation, but he looked really good. I'm going to tell you exactly what I liked about his gameplay. First of all, I was a little surprised by the strategy of Duncanville. I guess that's what makes Duncanville, because the last game, I felt like they were going to try to establish the run. I felt like maybe they were getting ready to try to just keep pounding the ball at DeSoto with the running game, but I was wrong. They came out firing on all cylinders with the passing game, and the quarterback, Maximus The Great Show, he delivered. That kid was slinging it. I was shocked that he was so decisive in the pocket. He was releasing the ball more quickly to his receivers, and he didn't hesitate one bit when it came to passing the ball. And when he ran, he didn't try to play hero. He would get the yards he needed. For instance, if he needed a first down or maybe a few yards here and there, he would slide. He played excellent football. Now, I was totally in awe of his performance. He hit all the receivers at Duncanville. He hit Trenton Yancey for a couple touchdowns. Ace Theus had a couple touchdowns. Emmanuel Ellison had a couple touchdowns. And Zach Turner had a touchdown. It was incredible. All in all, 7 touchdown passes, 350 yards. I was really impressed by his efficiency in the game. I was surprised by his delivery. I was surprised by his poise. There were even touchdowns where he was getting blitzed by DeSoto. He didn't scramble. He didn't get flustered. He just threw it to his receiver, and the receiver just took off and made a touchdown. It was really impressive. So, man, I got to admit, I was wrong. I really thought the game was going to be close. I really thought Duncanville was going to struggle moving the ball against a usually aggressive DeSoto defense. I knew that they had the usual weapons in the pass, but the performance Duncanville put out for this game was remarkable. They got the lead. They held the lead throughout most of the game. Even when DeSoto was inching back with some huge big plays by their top wide receivers, they found a way to just not panic and answer the call the next possession. If I remember correctly, Duncanville only punted the ball just a couple times throughout the whole game. So that tells me about the efficiency of the game, and hey, it shows by the final score, which was Duncanville 48, DeSoto 28. So it was a really solid game on all aspects, offensively, defensively, and special teams. It was a tremendous game if you're a Duncanville fan. Anyway, thanks for joining another episode of T-Sports Texas High School Football. Of course, the emphasis is on Duncanville. There weren't too many other big games that I want to talk about in this podcast. So this podcast is all about the Duncanville versus DeSoto game. So thanks for joining another episode, and don't forget to like and subscribe.